It all started with one comment, one line that hit young Buck harder than anyone realized. When 50 Cent told him, "I think that's over," something inside Buck cracked. Fans thought it was just a disagreement, maybe a typical rap fallout. But what followed was a slow, painful unraveling of a man who had spent his entire life fighting to rise above the chaos that raised him. Bankruptcy notices, relentless IRS pressure, probation trouble. It all came crashing down so fast that people assumed it happened overnight. But the truth is darker. His fall wasn't a sudden collapse. It was a long, quiet breaking that started years before anyone saw the cracks. To understand why everything spiraled, you have to go back to Nashville. Back to a kid named David Brown, constantly shifting from neighborhood to neighborhood, like life was never ready to settle for him. North Nashville. South Nashville. Projects filled with different energies, different rules, different dangers. He pumped gas for a couple dollars, cut grass just to keep something in his pockets, washed cars until his hands were raw. The hunger wasn't an act, it was survival. Music was the only place where he could breathe, the only lane where he wasn't running from something. That desperation is what pushed him toward the moment that changed everything. Buck and his homie found a BGCD from Chopper City and spotted something wild. An actual phone number for Cash Money records printed on the back. Two teenagers with no industry connections, no plan, and no fear picked up the phone and pretended to be promoters offering Cash Money $5,000 for a show in Nashville. They had no venue, no money, and absolutely no business calling that number. But the confidence was so strong that it somehow worked. Birdman told Buck to pull up and spit something real. He even put Buck up against Lil Wayne, and Buck held his own. That energy impressed Birdman so much that he flew Buck straight to New Orleans. Buck dropped out of school, ready to chase the only dream he had ever trusted, but Cash Money wasn't the paradise he imagined. Buck waited around with no records, no promotion, no direction. Watching everyone else shine while he stood in the shadows was torture. Then life reminded him how fragile everything was. A home invasion, gunshots ripping into his arm and thigh, his own wake-up call. He realized the streets didn't care how talented he was. They'd take his life long before the industry ever gave him a chance. So he left Cash Money and went back home with a new kind of fire. And then fate stepped in. Juvenile walked into the Cash Money office one day and saw Buck sitting there, waiting on a deal that wasn't coming. Shocked, he told Buck to hop in the car. They hit the road together, and suddenly Buck had a new path through Juvenile's label, UTP. But Buck was smarter this time. When Juvenile handed him a contract, Buck slid it under his bed and never signed it. He wasn't about to get trapped again, and Juvenile respected that. He even told Buck, if something better comes your way, take it. That better opportunity came in New York. Buck and Juvenile were on tour when the bus rolled into the city, right when 50 Cent was the hottest name in the streets. Buck kept asking if they could find a way to connect. The bus driver knew 50's former manager, and suddenly the impossible didn't seem so far away. 50 stepped onto the bus to record with Juvenile, but Buck didn't sit quietly. He started playing his solo tracks for Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo. One beat caught Banks immediately. He took it straight to the back where 50 was recording. 50 heard it, jumped on the track, and that song became Bloodhound on Get Rich or Die Tryin'. At that moment, Buck wasn't signed. He didn't even know if 50 would remember him. But 1 week after things fell apart with UTP, Buck's phone rang. It was 50 Cent offering $20,000 for the track and a flight to LA to meet Eminem and Dr. Dre. That wasn't an opportunity, that was destiny. Buck joined G-Unit and everything changed overnight. The group album Beg for Mercy exploded, selling over 377,000 copies in its first week. Buck used that momentum like a weapon. He dropped Welcome to the Hood, then Let Me In, then his debut album Straight Outta Cashville. The numbers were insane. Number 3 on the Billboard 200, platinum plaques, and the biggest mainstream breakthrough any Nashville rapper had ever seen. He smashed the so-called Nashville curse, proving the city could produce more than just country stars. But the higher he climbed, the more dangerous the fall became. At the 2004 Vibe Awards, chaos broke out. Dr. Dre got hit, and Buck was accused of reacting with a blade. He went on the run, then turned himself in, eventually getting 3 years probation. It didn't stop his grind, but it planted a shadow behind him. A shadow that never really left. Behind the scenes, tension kept building. 50 Cent demanded that everyone drop Shaw Money XL as their manager. But Buck refused. Shaw wasn't just his manager, he was his brother, the best man at his wedding. That loyalty, the same trait that got Buck through the streets, now put him in the 50's bad books. And from that moment, everything between them started to shift. Then the real storm hit. In 2010, the IRS raided Buck's home for over $300,000 in unpaid taxes. They found a hammer, and because he was a felon, the charges hit him hard. He filed for bankruptcy to escape his G-Unit contract, dropped his independent album The Rehab, and tried to restart. But 50 sued him for $10 million. A drive-by shooting almost took him out. And by 2012, Buck was sentenced to 18 months in prison on weapons charges. The IRS even auctioned off his belongings in public: studio gear, jewelry, everything. It was humiliation on display. Then the unexpected happened. In 2014, 50 Cent, Banks, Yayo, and Buck reunited at Summer Jam. The crowd lost it. The energy was legendary. 2 new G-Unit EPs dropped after that, and Buck launched one of the craziest mixtape runs in hip-hop with his 10 series. It felt like the old hunger was back. But the peace didn't last. More arrests, more controversy, leaked audio that blew up online, 50 attacking him on social media, another bankruptcy filing, another lawsuit, and by 2023, Buck owed over $200,000. After liquidating assets and paying legal fees, almost nothing remained of the millions he once touched. Yet here's the twist. In 2025, after serving a short sentence for bond violations, Buck walked out looking mentally clearer than he had in years. He's celebrating milestones, reconnecting with fans, and rebuilding from the ground up. Not chasing validation, not begging for headlines, just trying to write the next chapter on his own terms. Young Buck's story isn't just a rise and fall, it's a cycle of survival. A reminder that talent can take you to the top, but the demons you carry can drag you even faster to the bottom. And somehow, after everything, the IRS, prison, lawsuits, betrayals, street trouble, he's still here. Still fighting, still writing. Because in the end, Buck's life has always been the same story told 1,000 different ways. A hungry kid from Nashville who refuses to stay down, no matter how many times the world tries to break him.